On August 3rd, 2003, The OC premiered on Fox. The OC is a fish-out-of-water, coming-of-age, multi-hyphenate series. During a time that has been lauded as a golden age of teen soap operas, The OC distinguished itself from its contemporaries with its brilliant soundtrack, unique ensemble cast, and comedic sensibility that balanced its dramatic story arcs. All of that is well and good, but those aren't the reasons why this show resonates with me. My name's Joe Fejeran, and this is why I love The OC. Before I get into why The OC, I feel it's important to tell you a little bit about how I got there. My journey with The OC started before I lived in California. I grew up on the island of Guam and always felt like TV was the window to see worlds that I could only imagine, escapism in its truest form. And because of that, I watched a lot of television. Admittedly, I did not watch the first run of the show in its entirety. This was a time before the ubiquity of DVR, when the TV guide was a prophetic text. The show, created by Josh Schwartz, who at the time was the youngest person to be a showrunner, centers around Ryan Atwood, played with smoldering intensity by Ben McKenzie. Ryan's a troubled youth from Chino, which means as much to non-California-based audiences as Reseda did in the original Karate Kid. After getting in trouble with the law, his case is assigned to Sandy Cohen, public defender and surfing cool dad, played by cool dad Peter Gallagher. Eventually getting kicked out of his house, Ryan calls the only person who he thinks will help him and ends up in Sandy's pool house in Newport Beach. So, here are the 5 reasons why I love The OC. Number 1, the men. I mean, duh. The OC had every manner of hot guy teen girls and their budding gay male counterparts could want. Water polo players, Ryan's brooding gaze 1 minute and then winning smile the next. Water polo players, Peter Gallagher and Tate Donovan serving zaddy energy for your nerves. An early performance of Chris Pratt in the 4th season as Che, pre-Star-Lord Shred. Water polo players. But the most winning of all would be the comic book king of Newport himself, Seth Cohen, played exquisitely by Adam Brody. Seth Cohen is the 21st century update of the hot, nebbish, boy next door type. And yeah, was his nearly every episode rants about hating Orange County just the privileged whining of a rich white kid? Sure. It definitely reads that way now. I mean, his summer job was giving sailing lessons. But at the time I watched it, I longed to be the object of affection for a man of his wit. I empathized at the time with his unrequited feelings for Summer Roberts. And look, as I grew up and began discovering my own sexuality, I realized that TV was a way to experience some wish fulfillment. I was able to insert myself into a romantic narrative in a way that I never could do before. In watching The OC, I allowed myself to feel that desire that I was keeping hidden from the world, but especially myself. I mean, I didn't want to end up like Luke's dad in season 1 and have my secret boyfriend be discovered by my son and his schoolmates, which brings me to reason 2, the drama. To paraphrase a popular 90s gay dance club single, The OC was a drama with a beginning, a middle, and seemingly no end. As is to be expected of a show that falls under teen soap opera, I feel like my childhood primed me for the show's more surprising elements, as soap operas like The Young and the Restless and Days of Our Lives were regular programming in my house. Even to this day, my parents still keep up with the residents of Genoa City. So when Caleb Nickel, Sandy's father-in-law and Newport Real Estate's answer to Donald Trump, revealed that he has a bonus child in the season 2 Christmaka episode, I was here for it. And I can't talk about The OC without bringing up the season 2 finale and subsequent cliffhanger. The arrival of Ryan's brother, Trey, to Newport was already drama enough. Factor in an attempted assault by Trey on Marissa Cooper, Ryan's girlfriend. Audiences expected this to come to a head, and boy, did it. Not only did Ryan find out, go confront him, and end up coming to blows with his brother in a fight that was more violent than any that had been shown before. You could just feel like anything could happen. And just as Trey was about to deal a fatal blow with a telephone, Marissa shows up and shoots him in the back. Cut to black. This scene also gave us one of the best needle drops in television history, and reason 3 why I love The OC, the music. In a 2016 interview with Entertainment Weekly, Josh Swartz said, "I heard that song at the beginning of season 2, and I said, I don't know where we're going to use this song or how, but we're using it for the season 2 finale." The song, Hide and Seek by Imogen Heap, was not only a fitting ending to the season, but a fitting way to establish the darker trajectory Schwartz wanted to move to in season 3. The OC had a way of using music to advance the plot in a similar way that the music of Simon and Garfunkel did with The Graduate. The songs become their own character, influencing character motivations as well as part of the scenery, giving the show its early aughts SoCal feel. I mean, take the theme song, Phantom Planet's opening piano riff, their surfer rock-ish diction. It wouldn't be till much later in life that I would feel the same excitement from hearing a man belt out the word come. Let's not forget the music careers that were launched from this time. Rooney, Modest Mouse, The Killers, to name a few. There were several artists that also premiered music on the show. U2 with Sometimes You Can't Make It On Your Own, Gwen Stefani with Cool, Coldplay with Fix You. The most notable premiere was in 2005 when Beck released 5 tracks to promote his album Wero in what the media dubbed as the Beckisode. My favorite musical moment is in the final moments of the season 1 finale, where Ryan returns to Chino in a parallel way to his arrival in the pilot. Jeff Buckley's cover of Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen is played, and it was one of the first times that a piece of non-sacred music moved me. Then to have that moment called back in the season 3 finale, this time in a cover by Imogen Heap, done. Reason number 4 why I love the OC? The comedy. For a show that dealt out as much of the drama, it also really was smart about the laughs as well. It allowed Ryan, the tough guy, to have his witty moments, particularly when paired with Seth. My favorite running joke was the show within a show that Summer was obsessed with, The Valley. Later, they would introduce Sherman Oaks, the real Valley, as a tongue-in-cheek to the promotion of MTV's reality series Laguna Beach, which premiered almost a year after the OC. In a 2007 article from USA Today, writer Ken Barnes opined that this, quote, allowed producers and writers to have fun, mocking critical and public perceptions of the OC, its supposed soap exercises and pop culture obsessions, unquote. The best comedic moment to come from the OC was not comedic, nor was it even on the show. It was a sketch from the Lonely Island era of SNL called Dear Sister, where the shocking events of Marissa shooting Trey are spoofed. The immortalization of that iconic finale, plus the popularity of this sketch in the early days of YouTube, would go on to cement the OC as a cultural phenomenon. The final reason is more personal. Watching TV was also a way to mend a broken heart. Before binging shows on streaming was a thing, I used to break out my boxed set of the OC when I was feeling particularly in my feelings about a guy. In fact, that was the reason I binged the full series. I found that focusing on the problems of the characters was a good distraction. It even helped me practice a twisted sort of gratitude. Nothing quite like the problems of straight, wealthy, white people to ease my own emotional wounds. Nowadays, there are so many other options to choose from, but in 2020, in the middle of a global pandemic, when HBO Max announced the OC was returning to streaming on their platform, I knew it was a sign that I should stay my ass inside, and also that everything is going to be okay. I rewatched the series for the first time in years. I learned how much I had grown up in that time. I saw characters in a new light. Julie Cooper was no longer the gold-digging proto-bitch, but a mother whose sincerity I was sorry I doubted the first time. Seth remained whiny, but I had a new aesthetic appreciation for Ryan. I still think they did Marissa and the fans dirty in season 3. I realized how much I grew and how much the world around me grew. At a time when our country was being asked to answer for systemic racism and anti-blackness as a global respiratory pandemic raged all around, I find it ironic that the OC and its white people problems were what I took comfort in. So there you have it. My love of the OC runs deep. My hope is that future generations will remember it as an amulet of popular American culture in the early aughts. I will always remember it as the first show I was able to connect with on a personal level.